Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match preview segment for Everton's next Premier League game, which is an away game at Tottenham in their new stadium, whatever the hell it's called. And that's on Monday night. To look ahead to that, I've got Terry and Thomas alongside me. We'll get straight into the meaty stuff, save for maybe if anyone wants to tell me what the name of Spurs' new stadium is.
Just like
Tottenham.
the news. Yeah, that's what it is. Just Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for a naming rights deal, but obviously that'll have been put on the back burner because of the pandemic or what have you. But they built it without the names sold off, but I think it is for sale.
Okay. So as for now, it's just the poor man's Bramley Moor Dock, yeah.
What I've heard, it's meant to be an unbelievable stadium, but yeah, no name. Frankly, I'd imagine just the Everton Stadium would be a bit naff, wouldn't it? Like, I mean,
yeah.
I know some people like that. I'd rather have that than, USM Arena, which is probably what ours is going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you don't get any money for calling it the Everton Stadium, and money's the name of the game, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. I mean, if only you could sponsor yourself. I mean, it's not like we're totally doing that anyway.
If only you could do that.
I know.
Like put megaphone on the sides of your training kits and on the training ground, which only staff and players see. It's going to, sponsor the canteen to the tune of a few million as well soon, I think.
Yeah. Nah, nothing wrong with that if you ask me. Perfectly coached. Right, we'll get straight into the match preview anyway. Thomas, we'll start with you. How do you feel going into this game against Spurs?
I'm a lot more confident after last night, obviously, because at the time recording was the Sheffield United game, and they looked awful. After the VAR decision went against them, Spurs heads just massively dropped. I thought their defending was abysmal. I think it's the second goal where someone squared it to Robinson, I think it was in the middle of Mousset, and there was no one tracking him at all, and it looks a bit almost like, like kind of end of Marco Silva-esque. And I think if we can just get on top and get an early goal as we did against Leicester, we'll be comfortable, to be fair. I think before that, Spurs they'd had a decent start, obviously a draw against United, then beating West Ham, which is obviously a big game for them. But then the capitulation last night, I just think shows they're basically as fragile mentally as we used to be pretty much before Ancelotti. So I think if we get an early goal, I think as it showed last night, they'll kind of capitulate, and I think we could control the game from there, especially with obviously our newfound kind of defensive ability, which we never used to have.
Certainly. What do you think, Terry? Do you think we could maybe edge this one? I know we're not great away from home normally, but we won the last away game, albeit against the bottom team. Tottenham will be a tougher task than that, you'd imagine, but, like Thomas has just said, they're no great shape themselves at the moment. Do you think we can win this one?
Yeah, I definitely think we can. I'm not usually confident going into games. And I wouldn't say I'm going into this one thinking, oh yeah, we'll win this one. But we seem to be playing them at the right time because they're in the middle of their Jose show, aren't they? Where, he's fighting with players publicly and he's calling them out and he's picking on one player in particular, and the results are going against him. And you wonder whether the players are trying to get rid of them, and all the circus which is sort of comes with the latter-day Jose Mourinho. We're playing them right in the middle of that. Doesn't mean they haven't got good players. Doesn't mean, they can't score goals and haven't got a vastly, better central midfield than we have. All those things won't change just because they're at war with their own manager, it seems. But when it comes to the narrative of the Premier League, these are the type of games that you'd go into and think, I could see us getting a result here, see us winning or drawing and, coming away. And then Jose's under more pressure and he's kicking off in the press conference afterwards and all that. So if you're going to play a team with players as good as Tottenham, you want it to be while they're at war with themselves, which I think they very much are.
I think you spoke there about the narrative of the Premier League and how often, these kind of scenarios can come about where you can pile the pressure on an already under fire manager. But too often the narrative in the past has been Everton going into games where they think they can stake a claim and never deliver. Could it be different this time with Ancelotti in charge and the, like Thomas said, the more defensive steel maybe that we've got nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, baby steps. You couldn't turn around and say, well, we've got this good manager now, so, we don't bottle things anymore. Like, we're still the same players, you've still got that in you, but we can start, hopefully see the green shoots of progress. We finally got a good manager, not like a novice manager or a genuine manager. He's an actual quality manager, and that could be the thing that we needed to start to edge away and move away from this like mentality problem we've got. Look at the Leicester game. We were really unlucky to concede. We were playing really well defensively, all doing our job. Same as with Liverpool. Mason Holgate missed times is attacking the ball. He goes to smash it clear, hits it right against the face of the opposition striker, goes in the net. 9 times out of 10 previously, we crumble there and go on to concede another in quick succession and then probably go on to lose that game.
Without a shadow.
Yeah, definitely. Carlo Ancelotti addressed the problem when he saw the team starting to wobble, made tactical changes, changed the personnel, and we weathered the game out. So that now is going to be very important if we're going to get results. So we don't get many away results in general. So to get one at a top 6, like everyone says traditional top 6. Well, the traditional top 6 includes Everton, so I don't know what's traditional about it, but we don't get results away at the Sky 6.
I've stopped calling it the top 6 now. I just call it the establishment.
Yeah, the Sky 6. It's the 6 teams, even though they're not the 6 teams this season, and haven't been for a while. We don't get results against those teams though, away from home. Even going all the way back to Moyes, I've never seen us be strong away from home in the Premier League against these, which are better clubs and better teams. But it has to start. It has to end somewhere, and why not now? It has to start getting better.
Yeah, I think this is the opportunities that we need to take, especially in away games without fans. I think these are the times where you really want to claim these kind of scalps because you're not quite as much of a disadvantage as you might be normally. I think it's definitely the opportunity to end those runs. When did we last beat a top 6 team away from home or an established 6?
Must have been United, wasn't it, with Brian O'Hara goal? That's the last one.
7 years ago, that.
Yeah. So, but I think, there's been so many opportunities over the years for us to break it, really, and we haven't. Like, we're still in this position. But to be fair, I think as opportunities go, they're in disarray. The players don't seem to be playing for the manager. Obviously, he's done the classic. Yeah, as Terry said, single out one player. It was Luke Shaw at United. Now it's Ndombele at Spurs. I think if there was ever a time to play them, it would be now. And I'm quietly confident. I don't know how actually quiet I am in my confidence, but I definitely think that if there has to be a time, because this record can't go on forever. If it's 7 years, if we're actually remembering rightly, then it has to end at some point. And especially now, because away games have always been a problem for us, but obviously there's no fans there now. That makes probably a massive difference. Especially, we've seen players like Michael Keane who have kind of transformed themselves with no one on his back every game. So I think almost away and home form seems to kind of go out the window at the moment because there's no fans there. There's no one else kind of.
There's no such thing as home and away form, but there's just form, and our form is better than Spurs going into this. Which is hoping,
because I think it was.
Go on, sorry, Thomas.
It's just because I think there was the Bundesliga stat, wasn't there, where it was only 20% of the home teams had won their games since the restart. I think that just shows if there's ever time to actually break this duck that we've got, it has to be now when there is no fans and there's no such thing as a home advantage.
It's also our last game against one of the established 6 this season. This is our last opportunity to do it. This might be our only opportunity to do it without fans in the ground. So it's a massive game, and let's not forget, I think Spurs lost to Sheffield United. If we win, we go above Spurs. So that's an incentive in itself, and that should really motivate the fans. Motivate the players, if you ask me.
If there was ever a game which was kind of pivotal to kind of if we do want to get Europe, I think this would pretty much be it now. If Spurs beat us, or 4 points behind them, obviously it's a mess at the moment because no one knows about City's European ban. And, there's just teams everywhere on the same points. But I think if we really, really kind of want to like rubber stamp ourselves as kind of going for Europe this season, I think this is probably the game, because after this, I mean, no disrespect to other sides, but this is our biggest game for the rest of the season. So I think it has to be now rather than, the next 4 games or whatever are left.
I mean, we also have Wolves to play who are above us as well, but I don't think we'll overtake Wolves. I think if there's a team we've got to play who we can overtake. Well, we've got Sheffield United as well, but this is the crunch match. I think if we want to get into Europe, and you can say like the Tottenham players are at war and whatever you like, but it's up to Everton players to turn up. And in fairness, the Everton players so far have turned up in the 3 games we've had. So we've just got to hope that we keep on keeping on. And as far as what we've already seen is concerned, the performances haven't been fantastic. I think we can all agree on that, can't we?
Yeah, I think fitness is a massive part of that, to be fair, though. I mean, if I came back from, kind of sitting around doing nothing and then come back straight play football, I mean, I think against Leicester, I think was a brilliant test of our fitness, to be fair, to defend for as long as we did and defend that solidly, obviously conceding that free goal that Terry mentioned. I think that shows, I think we're now up to the fitness level where we can compete in, games like this. And as you said about Wolves there, I feel like it was kind of a mess for the European race, but I feel like almost like Wolves, United and Chelsea are all kind of going for, if there's 1 or 2 Champions League places, and then it's kind of like the rest for whichever Europa League places. So I feel like this is probably our biggest game for the rest of the season in terms of Europa League, I think.
Certainly, and I think looking ahead, I think we need to start staking these claims. These are the kinds of games where there was a lot riding on it, where we always seem to cave in. Like we put together a good run of form and then we'd surrender it by losing a crucial game, and then we were back to square one, if you see what I mean. It was always seems to be 1 step forward and 2 back. But this will be a good acid test, I think, for how far we've come under Ancelotti this season. To go into a game against a side we've had a bad record against and to maybe turn the tide a little bit. I think this is a massive game for us. And if Spurs are as much at war as you suggest, Terry, I think it could play a part, but it's up to Everton to seize the initiative then, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're not going to give us it. Like they've still got, top players like Harry Kane, Son, who have, and to be honest, they'll be looking to prove a point to Mourinho, because he's not going to be unpopular with all of them, but, he certainly will with some of them. But we just I can see it being a similar game to the Leicester and Liverpool game. We're playing these, let's be honest, they are better teams than us. They've got better players. We've got some good players, but they've got more. So we're going to have one of those, sort of hard work and, graft in 90 minutes. And if we can play like we did in those 2 games, I think, well, obviously Liverpool are, and I think Leicester probably better than Spurs, certainly this season. So if you can just, repeat that again, get good games out of the back 4 and the goalkeeper again, who knows what could happen. The only thing is you've got to take your chances when they come, because, Jose Mourinho sides, whatever you can say about them, defend well. So if you get a chance to score, you need to take it. You won't get many others.
You say they defend well, but they didn't defend well against Sheffield United the other day.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But, traditionally, you want to, the Jose sides are hard to break down. So, it depends how he sets up. He could decide he wants to let us have all the ball, and then it's really interesting then, because, we've got, Gomez and Sigurdsson will be much more comfortable if they're on the ball a lot compared to if they're defending a lot. So it just depends. We know what we're going to do. Our team is very settled at the minute because of the lack of options we've got, and we know how we're going to play and how we're going to set up. Spurs, not so much. You don't really know how Spurs are going to roll in the game, and it's just a case of having to adapt to how they play on the day.
This game is literally going to be a thing for me. I mean, regardless of how Spurs perform, I think if Spurs do turn up, then we'll have a tough game. But if Spurs don't, it's going to be the Everton team who decide how this game pans out at the end of the day, because there's times where we haven't seized the initiative enough, I think, in games where the opposition is underperforming. When I say that, I mean maybe like what Sheffield United done the other day, when maybe a team's head drop, I think sometimes we can actually give confidence back to them sometimes, and that's something that's always got on my nerves. I think that's starting to happen less under Ancelotti, and we've got to hope that that's the case again. I think if we do that, I think we've got a really good chance of winning the game.
Yeah, me too. You won't get many better chances to exercise one of the many demons that haunt the club than this. Just get a win against the good sides away, and then you can say, right, well, we beat them, we can beat others.
That's it. It's getting that sort of ball rolling, isn't it? And this is hopefully going to be the start of it this weekend. We just got to hope it. Of course, it's on Monday night, isn't it? The Spurs game. But I think Carlo did his presser this morning, and that's what we're going to look into now, is obviously the team side of things. He gave a few injury updates. Jibril Sidibe's back, and Richarlison looks like he's going to be fine as well. He went off with a knock, of course, against Leicester, but he looks like he's going to be fit as well. So that's a massive boost, obviously. In case you were wondering, Jean-Philippe Aubameyang's not going to be fit for this game, and neither is Theo Walcott or Fabian Delph. Just in case you needed that clarifying. But Richarlison's back, and I think that's the one that everyone was really keeping an eye out for. And do you think he'll start the game?
Yeah, I think so.
If he's awake, he's starting the game. There's no way. He's our best player.
Yeah, and if he needed a rest somewhere else, you've got to rest him in the games after this. If he's fit enough, he's got to be playing. We can't really be starting him on the bench at the moment. We can't afford that against a team like Spurs away.
Absolutely.
No, we will have to do some rotation eventually. We're playing the same 11, 12 players every game, and we're getting away with it. But we will probably see eventually. Richarlison rested and Moise Kean start, or Yerry Mina will starting games. We're going to see a little bit of rotation eventually, but not at this point. I think if we lose this game, you'll start to see loads of rotation just to get fitness up, because they'll have probably decided, we're starting from there.
Call it a day on Europe, maybe.
Yeah, because if we lose this game, we can't afford to be losing games to the teams around us, because we're starting from further back. So we need to be making up this ground. If we beat Tottenham, we're right in the mix. If Tottenham beat us, we're probably just fighting to be in the top 10 at that point, and then you can start, starting players who, just need a bit of fitness and what have you. But until such a time, I don't see him rotating much unless enforced, because the games are all crucial. But he will start doing it later down the season, because there's just no way he can't.
It'd be good to see Moise Kean start a game though, and see what he could conjure up for us.
Yeah.
If he's playing better than he did against Norwich, then I'm fine with that. I mean, he's an enigma, isn't he? He's been terrible in some games, but then he was quite good against Newcastle. It's early days for him. He's only a kid. And I know people are sick of hearing that, but Calvert-Lewin is right there as an example of, if you wait and you give players time to adapt and develop, it can happen for them. Might not take as long as Calvert-Lewin. Might take longer. It might never happen, but I'd like to find out. But it doesn't mean Keane needs to be thrown in too early, because right now I think coming off the bench, we've got two strikers who are better than him and performing better than him. I think that's the best position for him. Come on late in the game, but he needs to do better than he did against Norwich, because he wasn't good. Yeah, he harmed the team performance. He needs to be coming on and being the best player the second he gets on to make a point.
So I think sometimes I think he tries too hard to prove his point, and I think that led to a lot of the mistakes he made in that Norwich game. Certainly, the taking players on the edge of his own area. I don't approve of that. My heart rate.
He got away with that one because he got the free kick up the pitch, but it was utter lunacy. Me heart stopped when he done it. I was like, what are you doing? And yeah, it's things he needs to learn. He needs to learn quick, because he won't get away with it. This season he's probably going to get away with it because Carlo's come out and said next season's a fresh start for him. If he's still doing that next season, then it's he won't have any forgiveness from anyone at that point. But this season, I think he's getting a bit of a free pass, and
it's a free hit, yeah.
He's lucky to get that, because it's an unforgiving league, the Premier League. I think a different manager might not be the same, because Carlo's got experience with so many players, and he's obviously Italian as well. He probably sat and spoke to him and said, listen, there's no rush, you need to just work hard and see what you can do.
definitely. And I think just before we finish, there's obviously going to be a little bit of a sideshow going into this game. Andre Gomez is back against Son. Remember that?
I mean, I think most people have moved on from that now. I mean, I'm glad we got him back so quickly, and it definitely shouldn't be kind of the focus of the game. I know the media will love that one. I mean, the commentators will come up with this.
I mean,
like,
a few people have put it on Twitter here and there. Who's going to be the player who puts one on Son in the first?
I don't think anyone's going to do that, especially not Seamus Coleman at the end of the day.
No, Seamus Coleman will go and give him a hug instead.
Hopefully, if someone does put one on him, it's Duncan Ferguson in the warm up anyway. I think it'll all be sweetness and love. That I think they'll all, it'll be such a good show of sportsmanship. What I'd like to see is, if he can, if it's in him, because he obviously doesn't seem fit, I'd like to see Andre Gomez boss the game to sort of make the point, like, I'm back. Like he's worked hard in these games, but he hasn't been his old self. He hasn't been that Andre Gomez of like the Pickford derby where he was just a baller and none of the Liverpool players could get the ball off him. He hasn't seemed as strong or as as good as that since he's come back from the injury. That's fine. It's a major injury. Players don't come back. But we touched on the narrative of the Premier League before. Wouldn't it just be fitting if Andre Gomez came into this game and just ran the game?
Certainly. Another Portuguese player inflicting some misery on the Portuguese manager again. Score predictions, guys?
2-1 Everton.
2-1.
I think it would be similar to the last game. I think we'll get 2 goals. They'll come back at us, and then we'll defend for the rest of the game. I'm happy with that, to be fair. I mean, people are complaining about Leicester performance in the second half, but I mean, I'll happily take that against a side who's third in the table, to be fair.
I mean, I was just complaining about my blood pressure, to be honest with you. But
oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I was sat on the edge of my seat, but I'd much rather we did that than leave ourselves open, to be fair. And I think it might be more of that against Spurs if we do score early.
Certainly. Terry, what about you? Prediction?
No, I've just spent the last half an hour saying how we need to win, and it's a good opportunity, but I'm going to go for a draw because what I think we need to do and what I think will happen are 2 different things. I'm going to sit on the fence and be a bit of a shithouse and go 1-1.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go slightly in between. I'm going to say we don't score that many, but I think we'll win. I'm going to go with a horrible, gritty, ugly 1-0 win. I think that's how I think we're going to go about this game, to be honest with you. I think it's not going to be pretty, but hopefully the new, improved, gritty shithouse Everton will shithouses that we have in defence now who are very miserly and won't give anything away. Hopefully that might be enough, might get a clean sheet and, just do enough to get the win. I think 1-0. It's going to be a tight game, though. It's going to be a very tight game, I reckon.
They all are. Most of these post-lockdown games, they're just not many until the last rounds of games were high scoring, were they? It's only now you're starting to see, high score lines. But I think because there's no home or away advantage, it's more a case of, apart from like the Spurs game, ironically, but it's more a case of quality of between teams are starting to show. So, Arsenal, who aren't that good, other than Aubameyang, put 4 past
Norwich,
and then Man City, who are really the best team in the league, but I've just had their issues this season. Absolutely bodied, smacked up the second best team in the league, who will be returned to such a place next season, I'm sure.
And I'm sure that's going to go down brilliantly with the viewers as well.
If you're a cop out and you've watched this till the end, then call me what you like in the comments because you've earned it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some cop-outs watching Everton videos right the way through. You, given what you see on Twitter, sometimes it would never surprise me.
Yeah, well,
we'll finish on that note anyway. There you have it, guys. Let us know what you think about this game coming up. How do you think we're going to get on? Will we show that grit that we've maybe missed in these crucial games against the establishment, as I like to call them now? Let us know what you think in the comments as well. If you're a cop-out as well, definitely put some troll comment down there as well. Definitely do that because that's what you do, apparently. Give us a like as well and subscribe to the Toffee Blues as well. So we're looking ahead to 5 more games of the season to go, I think. And the game's going to come thick and fast, so be sure to tune into all the content that's coming your way. And until then, thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.